Hey, second graders, happy Tuesday. I hope you're doing well. It is a pretty nice day today. I went outside, I was gardening, and I'm pretty tired from today because we're trying to make new garden beds. So we had to cut the grass, like underneath the mud, roll up the grass, and move it. So now it's just a big empty mud spot. And then we'll put rocks in it and then put some raised flower beds on top. But I am tired. It was a lot of work. But it was a fantastic day. I also got to see a lot of your guys' work. I also love to get to check in with you guys. You told me how you were feeling and then why you were feeling that. So it was good to be able to hear about how you guys were feeling today too. So before we do Penelope Peabody, I want to remind you tomorrow is Writing with Mrs. Copeland. Remember that this is completely optional. If you'd like to do it, you're welcome to. And it's a chance for Mrs. Copeland to give you a lesson on different types of writing, and she's going to do that tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And so if you'd like to join her, you can. And she's opening it up to all of second grade. So if you go tomorrow, you might get a chance to see some of your friends from other second grade classes from Sacagawea. So that could be fun too. I will send out the link for that tomorrow morning when your assignments go out. So that's something to look forward to as well. And then of course on Thursday we'll have our my office hours where we'll get a chance to do some mini lessons on some of the math that we've been working on. And it'll also give me a chance for you to tell me how your iReady lessons are going. Tomorrow you will have your first iReady lesson that will be assigned, and you'll get through iReady through Clever. And then you'll put in your information and it'll send you right to a lesson that I've picked out for you. You'll get a chance to do it, and I want to know what you guys think of it too. So let me know. Okay, so for Penelope Peabody, I gave you this clue on Friday, and a lot of you guys got back to me really quickly. Let me read you the clue. I'm afraid to leave my car for fear I'll be eaten. You see, I've been driving through the Everglades National Park, and alligators are everywhere. I know there must be plenty of beaches around here because this state borders the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean. I have no idea where I am. What state am I in? All right, I had a bunch of you tell me which state Penelope is in. Weston, Marley, Bennett, Caden, Adelaide, Emerson, and Lucas, you all got it correct. Well done. Penelope Peabody is in Florida, right down here, Florida. So it's probably the farthest, one of the farthest east. I mean, we're up here in Washington. If you go completely diagonal, you could get to Florida. Florida, it has alligators in the Everglades, but it also has some incredible beaches. It also has Disney World there. So Florida would be an awesome place to go visit someday if you ever get a chance. Your new clue for Penelope Peabody. Let's see if you can figure out where she is this time. I saw a sign a while back that said, "Welcome to the Beehive State." I think Beautiful Park State would be a better nickname because I've seen so many gorgeous parks. Arches National Park, Zion National Park, and Bryce Canyon. I think I'll go for a swim in the Great Salt Lake before I leave tomorrow. I'm not sure what state I'm in, but I love it here. I am lost in the Western United States. What state am I in? Okay, so we know she's in the Western United States. Okay, so here's my map. And if I look at my compass, I know that west is this way, and we are in the western part of the United States. So she has got to be somewhere over here, which I'm glad she is because she's been focusing more over here. So where do you think she is? A few things you can look up. Beehive State. You could also look up where is Arches National Park or Zion National Park or Bryce Canyon, or you could also look up where is Great Salt Lake. So those are some things that you could look up to figure out where Penelope Peabody is. All right, so today I have a book for you that is one of my favorites, and I feel like I say that all the time, but it really is. And it's been made into a movie recently. A couple years ago, I think they made it into a movie. This is called The Story of Ferdinand. It's a famous story. All right. The Story of Ferdinand by Monroe Leaf and drawings by Robert Lawson. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. He liked to sit quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in the shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. "Why don't you go and run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head?" she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. "I like it better here, where I can sit just quietly and smell the flowers." His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until he was very big and strong. All the other bulls who had grown up with him in the same pasture would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted most of all was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in Madrid. Madrid is a city in Spain. But not Ferdinand. He still liked to just sit quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. All the other bulls ran around snorting and butting, leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand knew that they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care, so he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. But he didn't look where he was sitting, and instead of sitting on a nice cool grass in the shade, he sat on a bumblebee. Dun, dun, dun. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him, and that is just what that bee did to Ferdinand. Wow, did it hurt. Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting, butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. The 5 men saw him, and they all shouted with joy. Here he was, the largest and fiercest bull of all, just the one for the bullfights in Madrid. Uh-oh. So they took him away for the bullfight in a cart. There he goes. What a day it was. Flags were flying, bands were playing. And all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderillos with long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull and make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome and bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword, and he was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull, and you know who that was, don't you? Ferdinand. There he is. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce, and all the banderillos were afraid of him, and all the picadores were afraid of him, and the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouting and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the lovely flowers and all the lovely ladies' hair, and he just sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderillos were mad, and the picadores were madder, and the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still, under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers, just quietly. He is very happy. The end. Ferdinand, I love that story. And the movie is really good too, if you haven't had a chance to see it. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix. Anyway, all right, guys. Happy Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow. And don't forget, if you have a chance to go to Mrs. Copeland's writing lesson,